Hello everyone, welcome to my channel English with Visali. Today we will discuss about the first sem BCA General English Shooting an Elephant lesson Shooting an Elephant written by George Orwell 10 marks question and answers. Before video we discussed about summary about this lesson. Now we will discuss about 10 marks question and answers. First question: discuss the nature of Orwell's resentment and ridicule. Why is it directed at him? George Orwell's resentment and ridicule in shooting an elephant arises from his complex position as a colonial officer in Burma. Although he represents the authority of the British Empire, he himself resents imperialism. He hates the injustice, exploitation, and cruelty of colonial rule. And ironically, the Burmese people do not see him as a sympathetic figure. To them, he is a symbol of the foreign oppressor. As a result, Orwell experiences mockery and hatred. The Burmese insult him, laugh at him, and sometimes strip him during football matches. This hostility is not personal, it is directed at the imperial power he represents. Orwell becomes a scapegoat. He is ridiculed not for who he is as a man, but for his role as a British officer. This dual resentment, his own hatred for imperialism and the people's hatred for him, creates a tragic irony. Orwell resents being both agent and victim of the empire. He hates the system, but the system forces him into a position of false authority. He is compelled to play the role of a ruler even when he personally rejects it. This leads to his humiliation, especially when he is pressured by the crowd to shoot the elephant against his will. Thus, Orwell's resentment is directed at imperialism, while the people's ridicule is directed at him as its representative. Together, they highlight the moral corruption of colonial power. Next question. In this we are having key points. First question, key points. Orwell hates imperialism but must enforce it. Burmese ridicule him because he symbolizes oppression. He is both agent and victim of empire. Irony: rulers are hated even when they oppose the system. Second question we are having: analyze the scene in which the narrator shoots the elephant. The shooting scene is the climax of the essay and is presented with intense detail to reflect Orwell's moral conflict. When Orwell reaches the elephant, he finds it calmly grazing. At this point, he does not want to kill it as the danger has passed. However, thousands of Burmese villagers have gathered expecting him to act. In their eyes, he is a figure of authority who must prove his power. Orwell realizes that if he walks away without shooting, he will appear weak and cowardly. This fear of humiliation outweighs his conscience. He concludes that he must shoot the elephant not for necessity but to maintain his image. The actual killing is slow and agonizing. Orwell fires multiple shots. The elephant collapses, struggles, and dies only after much suffering. This scene reflects the futility and cruelty of imperialism. The elephant, like a colonized nation, is powerful and helpless, exploited for the pride of the oppressor. The crowd's cheer at the elephant's fall contrasts with Orwell's inner despair. He knows that he has acted not out of justice or necessity, but out of fear of ridicule. The shooting scene, therefore, becomes a metaphor for the moral emptiness of colonial rule, a show of power that hides inner weakness. Key points: elephant calm, no need to kill, crowd pressure forces Orwell to shoot, shooting slow, painful, unnecessary, symbol of colonial futility and cruelty. Third question: how is the empire's violence portrayed and what significance does it have? The empire's violence in shooting an elephant is portrayed as destructive, pointless, and dehumanizing. Orwell presents colonialism not as a system of order but as one of brutality and humiliation. The Burmese people suffer daily under imperial power, oppression, racism, and exploitation. Their hatred of Orwell is an indirect result of the constant violence of empire. At the same time, the empire enslaves the rulers themselves. Orwell, though supposedly powerful, is forced to act against his will. His authority is an illusion. He is actually a prisoner of the crowd's expectations. The shooting of the elephant symbolizes this violence. It is unnecessary. The elephant is no longer dangerous, but Orwell still kills it. This mirrors how imperialism inflicts needless violence on colonized nations to maintain an image of superiority. The slow, painful death of the elephant emphasizes the suffering caused by empire. The significance lies in Orwell's realization imperialism corrupts both sides, the colonizers become tyrants and hypocrites, while the colonized live in resentment and hatred. The empire's violence destroys dignity, freedom, and morality. Orwell concludes that the system is not only oppressive but also morally bankrupt, benefiting neither rulers nor the ruled. Key points: violence is pointless, destructive, and humiliating. Colonized suffer oppression. Colonizers trapped by false power. Elephant's death, metaphor for colonial exploitation, shows the moral emptiness of imperialism. So, these are the question and answers we have discussed. Thank you. Please like, share, subscribe my channel.